And the Son would be incarnate, he says. Well, there's not, by the way, that is not the proper name. Immanuel is not the proper name for Jesus, but it is one of his attributes. He is always with us. He's close to us. He's compassionate. This is a miraculous birth. God would give himself to be present among us. How in the world can you explain the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords coming down to us? How can you explain someone who had everything, had all the glory and splendor of heaven? How can you explain to me this morning that he left heaven for me? That he came down to me so unworthy, so guilty, so sinful, and yet God entered my life. I didn't enter his life. He entered my life. I didn't invite him. He invited me. He's the one that changed me. He's the one that caused me to turn over a new leaf, so to speak. I didn't turn over a new leaf. I turned over a new life. Leaves are blown by the wind. In Matthew chapter 1, verse 22 and 23, it says, and all this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. That's Isaiah. The virgin will be with child and give birth to a son, and they shall call him Immanuel, which means God with us. Did Isaiah understand this? Nope. Was it fulfilled during his lifetime? Absolutely not. Was it a prophecy focused on the future, given to all people, that God could be with all people for all time? Yes, that's what the prophecy was all about. He had a sure sign. But if you flip over to chapter 9, you see Isaiah talks about a sent son. Let's quickly use the text. The original birth announced was made in the midst of grief and gloom. Verse 1. Nevertheless, Isaiah says, there will be no more gloom for those who were in stress. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and Naphtali. But in the future, he will honor Galilee by the Gentiles, the way of the sea. Galilee was a place that really was downtrodden. But how in the world did he bless Galilee? Where did Jesus walk most of his life? In Galilee. And what he's saying, the place where you think is nothing, everything happened. The place that nobody lived, the King of Kings walked and lived. I am going to bless Galilee. Why? Because that's where Jesus is going to minister to the people of God. Don't miss that fact, that the ministry of Jesus was in this place called and grounded in Galilee.